news, transfer news, match previews, legend interviews, Spurs women, press conferences, covering everything Tottenham and England.
Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of the Spurs Chat podcast. Of course, in this edition, we'll be talking about everything Tottenham Hotspur. A lot going on. Of course, we are 3 games in to the Premier League season. 1-1, drawn 1, lost 1. There are lots of positive people out there and there are lots of people that are worried about this season. We will be discussing absolutely everything Tottenham Hotspur in this episode. We will also be going through some of the viewers and listeners' questions and comments. So thank you so much for all of those. Literally hundreds and thousands coming in every single day. So thank you so much for all of your input. We're live on YouTube, live on Facebook and also X. So please do get involved. Let me know exactly how you are feeling as a Tottenham Hotspur fan right now. And we will go through as many as we possibly can. Back with me is Becky Day, channel regular. Becky, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I was just chatting off air saying that I'm back at school now this week. Been back 5 days. It's a bit of a shock to the system on Monday after being away on holiday in the Netherlands until late on Sunday. But yeah, I'm great to be back. I was at the Leicester game and then I was away for the Everton and Newcastle games, but I did manage to watch both of them. So yeah, my first game at home this season will be the North London derby, which will be interesting to say the least. But yeah, great. Thanks for having me back.
Great to have you here, Becky. Thank you so much. And joining us for the very first time is Remy Ødegård, all the way from Norway. Remy, great to have you here. How are you?
I'm very good, Chris. Thanks for having me. I'm delighted to be on.
Remy, talk us through what it's like supporting Spurs in Norway and why Tottenham Hotspur for you.
I've been following Spurs since the 94-95 season. I didn't get into football with like being a fan of any team before I was 21 maybe. And because Norway then qualified for the World Cup for the first time in 94, and then I saw the World Cup, and then I saw Jürgen Klinsmann, and then he went to Spurs after that tournament. Then it was Spurs for me, and have been ever since. And being a Spurs fan in Norway is, I think we are the third biggest supporter club in Norway after Liverpool and Man United. Maybe. Actually, our neighbors have passed us because of Martin Ødegård, you know. But quite a few Spurs fans in Norway.
That's good to hear. Well, great to have you here, Remy. Look forward to having your opinions on all things Spurs shortly. Back with us also, I think it's been a couple of years since Alex Davis has been on the show, Mr. Box Office TV. Alex, how are you?
I'm good. Had a good summer, relaxing, no Spurs, yeah, and then we come back to Spurs and it's like someone said to me, same Spurs, different day, isn't it? You know what I mean? So yeah, it's going to be interesting because a lot of people find me popular. I'm not popular, Chris, if you would know anyway, but it's going to be an interesting one for you anyway, you know what I mean? But big up to you, thank you for inviting me, and that's it. Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting one.
Alex, I'm so glad that you got in touch asking to be on the show because, of course, it is all about opinions. I know a lot of us have different opinions. Now, before the guests do give their views, I just want to say their views don't necessarily reflect mine because, of course, we do all have very different opinions. Now, some points we will agree with, some we won't. No doubt that some things will be said that are positive and some will be negative. And I feel like there's a lot of balanced views on this channel. We have a lot of regular guests, a lot of fantastic guests on a weekly basis. But I do feel it is very important to hear from fans who sometimes feel differently to what we do. But one thing is for sure, that we all want success and we all want trophies at Tottenham Hotspur. Becky, I'd like to start the show with you. How are you feeling as a Spurs fan right now? 3 games in, 1 draw, 1 win, 1 loss. What have you made of the 3 performances so far? Because Ange Postecoglou has come out and said 3 strong performances. I think that all of us feel that we should be sitting here with 9 points out of the first 3 games. Frustrating in a way, but how are you feeling?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because we remember back to the first 10 games last season where sometimes we weren't necessarily playing that well, but we kind of escaped out of matches and had these sort of last-minute winners and that sort of thing, and it kind of felt that we were on kind of the crest of a wave. This season, we've arguably played 3 teams that we could have, should have, and would have beaten. And I think when you watch the games and you're there, yes, they are much better than they used to be in the Conte days. We're more attacking. It's more interesting to watch. It feels like the matches go a million miles an hour because there's so much going on. But unfortunately, if you kind of compare it to the last season, their games, we've talked before about, we need to pick up points, and it's all well and good having loads of chances and loads of shots. But if we're not turning them into goals and not turning them into points, then we're just having a fun time and not really seeing much from it. Being at the Leicester game, we just dominated so much, but then silly mistakes at the back and they equalised. And then obviously the Everton game was slightly different, where it was like the good old days back at home, attacking free-flowing football, and you know, we beat a poor side on that day. And then you go to Newcastle, and again, you compare it to the last 2 times, it wasn't as bad as that. However, you come back and look at the stats, we had loads and loads of chances, but again, silly mistakes at the back, or a high line, or people being in the wrong zonal areas, or however you put it, and we end up losing that game. And it's so demoralising, because when you listen to the players in international duty, a lot of them have been asked in their international press conferences about how they feel the season's going, and they're all like, oh, we're on the right path and we're going the right way. And it just feels like that's all well and good, but we've got Arsenal next, and then we've got Brentford, and then we've got Man United, and we've got a Coventry game in the middle, and these games are coming thick and fast, and then we've got Europe. And you know, we can't just be a team that has lots of shots and, you know, plays lots of nice football. We've got to turn it into results. And you know, you hear people talk about the front line not being as strong as it needs to be, and the disappointment of not signing, you know, a left centre back, and then not maybe signing an extra person up front. Then we've had injuries to Solanke, and then Lancashire was injured as well, and Richarlison was injured, and it, you know, it's all very well going, oh, we've got injuries, but teams have squad depth, and they get by and they manage to turn them into results. And unfortunately, Ange is in that season where it's got to start to turn into results. As much as we love the football and we love going down, and it's got to be that, because otherwise, how long, you know, is this process going to be for, and how long do we wait? And you know, it's that side of it. So yes, I'm positive. I prefer going to the games there. They're much more fun to watch. We're much more attacking, but it's still that kind of clinical edge, really. And you know, is that the defence's fault? Because if we hadn't had those silly mistakes, we'd have won the games. Or should we be in teams 6-7-0? I don't think we are at that point yet. So yeah, it's frustrating, really. I'm still positive, but I want to see it kind of turning into results, because otherwise, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games, if it carries on like this, we're going to be in a quite a different place.
Becky, you mentioned 2 words there, positive but yet frustrated. I wanted to ask you, because of course we're both on social media a lot. We both, you know, actively follow Spurs home and away. I see you in a lot of the away ends, you know, every other week, up and down the country. When you look at so much negativity online right now, we don't have that negativity in the away end. It does seem to be very different to what it is like in the away end to what is online. How would you sum that up?
Yeah, and I would say, with not being at the Newcastle game, because I was listening to it on the radio driving back from the Netherlands, hearing it on the radio is very different to being there. So you don't really get a sense of how, you know, attacking it is, and where the kind of the play was. And then I got back and I look at the stats, and they're saying we had this many shots, we had that many shots. And I texted my friends and said, give it me in a sentence. And they went, frustrating, we should have beaten them 4 or 5-0. And hearing that on the radio is really hard to kind of pick up that sense. You know, they never really kind of explained how high the line was for the winner, for example. And so it is very difficult. So I think a lot of people that possibly have the frustration are seeing it in, you know, snapshots, or seeing kind of sections or highlights, or, you know, that sort of thing. Whereas when you are there, you see that kind of fast flowing into play. You see the sort of the way that the wing backs or the left and right backs are so high up, and then, you know, if a ball goes right over the top, you see that space and that kind of panic, and hoping that Van der Ven can kind of, you know, go and chase it down, or Dragoshin or Romero. And I think it is a different sense. But you know, they've got entitled to their opinion, and I think you're right. It is different for those people who are going, but that's not to say that their opinion isn't as important. because we all want the same thing at the end of the day. We want it to be. There's always been a little bit of, even at home games, what possibly people think on social media and what feels in the ground, because you're saying about, I remember when Kane come back, they were like, oh, you're going to boo Kane. No, of course people are not going to boo Kane. So it's not always necessarily true reflection. However, some of the things that they say are right. They're watching it with eyes of it's not clinical or it's not kind of working out, and they're entitled to have that kind of opinion. But yeah, I think it is a little bit of a mismatch. But at the end of the day, like I said before, it comes down to points and results, and if it's not happening, they're entitled to their opinion.
Remy, let's come to you. Let's get your opinion on the opening 3 games. Of course, that 1-1 draw, Leicester beating Everton 4-0, and then losing 2-1 last weekend against Newcastle. What have you made of it so far?
I feel quite at ease. The first game against Newcastle, we should have put that game to bed before halftime. But so sometimes this happens in football, and maybe it happens more with us. But and the Everton game was a nice game to watch. It was nice to put 4 in the back of the net, and but I think Everton is going down this season, so it's like no measure to like. It didn't speak to me like, okay, we beat Everton 4-0, then we are so and so good. So when we went to St. James's Park, I would have taken a draw if it was my decision before the game, because St. James's Park is a total mayhem. It's like, I don't know, it's like Anfield or something. It's players are struggling under that pressure. And so in all 3 games, 4 points, it's okay. We are 3 games in. I'm not worried. We're in a rebuild phase. It's a transition phase. We have got so many new players in. So many players have left. This rebuild is like we are doing this now after the Pochettino era, And no, I would like to go like 10 games in before I say that I'm very positive. I'm very negative. Right now, I just want to see what happens in the next few games,
Remy, you mentioned there, of course, the rebuild. A lot has changed, as you've mentioned as well. Postecoglou has been very ruthless in getting a number of players out the door. Of course, a lot of players have changed in the squad. A number of players have come in the door over the 3 transfer windows that he's been there. Surely, whatever happens in the next few weeks, even in the next few months, Ange Postecoglou should be given the time, the patience, and the tools, should he not?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. We have gotten our Tottenham back, as they sang, after he came in last season and totally changed the system. You saw people playing with our players played with freedom. They were expressive on the pitch, not all this like a strong discipline to. I don't know. I like sexy football. That's why I'm following Spurs.
I love it. We all love sexy football, yes. Alex, let's come to you. How are you feeling right now, 3 games in?
I'm not going to go 3 games in. I'm going to go that 10-game run, right? When we had that 10-game run, which was managed to bounce, by the way, right? Now, when Postecoglou came in, I said I wasn't that bothered about him, to be honest with you, because I was sitting there thinking, what's the difference? Because Chris, yeah, that first time you interviewed me, right, when I said to you, was the biggest mistake sacking Pochettino and Mourinho. That was the day when my breaking point was done. That was when I was done. Yeah, this is a supporter that was been supporting Tottenham since 1998. Yeah. Now, someone just said rebuild, right? Now, unfortunately, I think Tottenham fans don't actually understand. Rebuild is when you won something, right? The last I said this on my channel, Mr. Box Office TV, by the way. So I'm not just saying this on Chris Cowlin show. I'm saying it on my channel as well, by the way. So I'm referencing that as well. The last time we've been building since 2008. That's when we've been building from. Yeah. So that's why Tottenham fans are fed up. Yeah. In that time frame, I don't know how many managers we've gone through. Yeah. How many managers have Arsenal gone through? How many managers have Liverpool gone through? And then people are saying that we need patience. Honestly, I don't even know where we're going with this. So it's like, for me, at the moment, right, I'm sorry, I'm not there with Ange Postecoglou. I'm not there. He's because I knew it was a bounce. I did give him credit after Chelsea, but unfortunately, the football for me, I don't see this football that everyone's talking about for me. And for me, the games that we played right now, the transfer window has summed up why I wasn't even bothered about the transfer window, to be honest with you, because it's not on that. It's on, and I'll tell you later why I'm not there either later on. But for me, the transfer window and the games that we played just shown you why we are struggling at the moment. Firstly, the front three, useless. I don't like the front three. I didn't like the front three when we started, to be honest with you. Right? I don't like Richarlison, right? Because I don't think he's that great. Yes, he's got arrogance, but the wrong arrogance. Son, not a captain for me. I think he's going downhill. Yeah, he's all right. He's got credit in the bank, but he needed someone to compete with him, right? Johnson's useless, right? Werner, don't even get me started on Timo Werner. I don't even know why we bother with him, right? What is it? Solomon, thank goodness he's gone. But again, why do we get him in? Kulusevski, disappointing. I called him a Juventus reject, and to be honest with you, he's been disappointing since. And if people want to start saying, "Oh, I need to give him a chance," we didn't give Dele Alli a chance when he had a good how many years? You know what I mean? So where are we going with this? You know what I mean? I might as well have Bergwijn back. The midfield, I'm sorry. It's a reason why now I'm saying I want Højbjerg back in my midfield. And there is something wrong with that. There is something wrong with that because I've been calling him bang average. I trust him more, Højbjerg, than any of our midfielders at the moment. And that's it. And I'm actually now saying our best defender at the moment is not Van der Ven. He's not Romero. It's Dragerson. And you know why I'm saying Dragerson? Because he knows how to defend. Van der Ven is only good because he's got pace and he saves us every single time. If you take that pace away from him, right, I think actually Postecoglou is ruining him because best defenders, you got your best defenders, Ledley King, Woodgate, Tony Adams. You know, the best defenders going didn't need pace. They can anticipate it. They've got the mindset. Yeah, and anybody that's lived in that era of the 90s, the 2000s, you know, the best defenders don't need pace. They'll just figure it out by just knowing, just anticipating. You see what I'm saying? I think we're missing a trick with Dragsson, you know, and that's it. And it's his decision. All those decisions of him making those forward decisions, not getting a good midfielder, that's on him, Ange Postecoglou. So for me, and this is a guy, like I said, I'm open to be persuaded, but at the moment, I still need to persuade him. That's all I'm saying, and that's it. Sorry, I know that the audience are not going to like me, but that's what I'm like. I'm going to tell you the truth, and that's it. Back to you, Chris.
Alex, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I just want to try and break this down. Are you still behind Ange Postecoglou?
No. At the moment, no. At the moment, because I was saying I was not on the board with him, but then there were certain fans that were saying, "Oh, you need to get on board with him. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?" I'm like, I'm still not there. I'm not there.
So talk to me about the positives. Talk to me about the things that you're happy with right now supporting Spurs.
The only one that at the moment I think is actually improving. I think he needs to do more. I think he could be more forward. I think he's a better right winger than the actual right back. Is Porro.
That's the only positive you have.
At the moment, Porro. At the moment, I think we could use him more. I think we should do a more back three rather than a back two. I think for me at the moment, I don't know what we're going to do about the midfield because I'm sorry, I don't think the youngsters are ready. I don't think Archie Gray's ready. I think he should have gone on loan, another loan for me. Bergwijn's got something about him. I'll give him that. But for me, we missed a trick. We should have got an experienced player next to them. You know, like a Locatelli, someone like not a Rodri, but someone like that ilk that's won trophies that can just guide them. You see what I'm saying? Guide them through. You know what I mean? Because at the moment, I'm looking at them and saying they're not gonna. They can't because you're not gonna learn it to get 18 years old. You know what I mean? You need someone experienced. That's why the likes of Foden, Foden's doing what he's doing at the moment because he's got experience. Someone that's won next to him and guiding him. You see what I'm saying? And I don't think we've got that. I don't trust any of them. I think Højbjerg is a better midfielder to have somebody next to him than what we've got at the moment. You see what I'm
Alex,
saying? I like Maddison. I do like Maddison. I do like Maddison, but I don't think we're using him better, and that's it. So it's really a case of not adapting the system to what we're best at. You see what I'm saying? And that's what is kind of frustrating me at the moment. I don't see it at the moment. Sorry, Chris, that's what I'm saying.
You've mentioned a couple of positives there. I was going to ask you, how are you feeling as a Spurs fan 14 months ago to now? Surely you are feeling a little bit more optimistic because, as Remy mentioned earlier, and as I've mentioned on so many editions of the Spurs Chat podcast recently, the amount of changes in terms of personnel on the pitch, off the pitch, a lot has changed. Surely you can see the positivity and that we are building something.
Yeah, but we've said this a lot of times, Chris. Unfortunately, like I said, I've seen this since the last time we won a trophy. Since we've seen this for a long time now, I've seen this so many times. You see what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of promises, and again, it comes down to the whole thing. It's like for me, I see that he works well with the youth director, Simon Davis. Yeah, cool. Postecoglou. Yeah, I see that. But at the same time, it's just I think it's I have to see it. I have to be proven wrong, and that's it. They've got to prove me wrong. They've got to stick with this process. And at the moment, I've got nothing to go on. And this is the thing. I just don't know. You see what I'm saying? They're just so flippant at the moment. And I'm sorry, Chris. I couldn't take anything from last year. It was a build season. He should have used more youngsters last season. He had one game a week, right? And we were getting worse, in my opinion. I was going to games and we were winning games because we were doing it in moments, in my opinion. And that's the thing for me. So, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, Chris. But for me, as a Spurs fan, I need to see something. You see what I'm saying? I need to be convinced. And that's always long term with me. I'm never going to be like this person that always jumps on something straight away. And like I said, the reason why I'm feeling like this is because my breaking point was done after Pochettino. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've not got it back since then. And I'm not going to lie to you right now. And that's it. I'm sorry if that sounds negative. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry because that's my opinion. But I'm saying that I'm sorry it doesn't come across right to some people. But that's the way I feel at the moment. And that's it.
It's fair to say that we've all gone through tough times. Everyone at the football club has gone through tough times, particularly when we got so close in 2019 to lifting the Champions League. That was gutting for all of us. Becky, let's come to you. I do get what Alex means in a way because, it must continue. I've said this, the transfer windows, the backing of Postecoglou must continue if we are going to progress as a football club. But, I know, many people will see Alex as being super negative here by not seeing, more than, say, two positives there. But how confident are you that Postecoglou will continually be backed in these transfer windows? And what have you made of the 3 transfer windows that he's had at the football club so far? Because I refer back to Remy's point again, the amount of change that has happened in the club in the last 12, 14 months is incredible.
Yeah, I think you'd struggle to find people that say that it wasn't, certainly in terms of outgoings. I think, there's always the difference when managers change, that there will be players that managers don't want, and from the outside in we might say, well, that's a shame, but unfortunately when managers come in, that's what happens. So I think the amount of players that we saw go out was great. I do think we were 2 or 3 players short, and I think I agree in the sense that the young players, it's great that they're given the opportunity, but I think there needs to be some experience there. I think Bentancur is, for me, the person that will be that person this year. Maddison, Vicario, these are not young players. So there's the experience there. Whether you like Werner or not, Werner is Champions League, so he has experience in Europe that he will foster to possibly even verbally more, though, than maybe on the pitch to some of the younger players. But I think it's certainly, I think it feels like there are more players that Ange has kind of agreed to rather than them being club signings, which is positive. The problem then, as I said earlier at the top of the show, is if the results don't continue to improve, it's always the manager's head that gets chopped first, and then you're left with players that may not necessarily suit the next manager in. So I do think time needs to be given. But the problem is when you go to matches, I've said this on the show here, is you feel like we're easily read, we're easily kind of worked out, and you know, it's frustrating. Like I said at the top of the show, we've got matches that we should have won, and then we're going to play much tougher opposition, and it feels like it's too easy to play against us. You know, the whole run into the byline and crossing it in, playing the high line, and, you know, balls over the top, playing out to the back. These sort of things that look very easy to sort of play against is, I think, that we will come unstuck. And that's a frustrating thing, is that I think whether you go to matches or whether you don't go to matches, the one common thing that we tend to agree with is that, you know, people are kind of just starting to work us out. And, you know, in terms of what Alex is saying, if you think about towards the end of last season, we didn't have a great run towards the end of the season. You know, there were matches that I think we went 3 games losing, but overall, the majority of the supporters were positive. And I remember saying, that's just madness. We've lost 3 games in a row, but there's still this sort of positivity. So people are trying to sort of see where they know it's going. But like I said before, how long is a process? How long is a process? Things need to start to move on. So yes, I was pleased with the outgoings. I do think there were areas that we are short. And then seeing yesterday's Europa League squad, where you've got some players that have not been included. I said before, we didn't have a left centre-back. What happens when Ødegård gets injured, which he inevitably will? What happens if Porro gets injured? You know, that's the thing that's frustrating. Other teams have managed to find a little bit of squad depth. You know, even the players that have been kind of loaned out, do we recall them back? It's all just, that's the bit that seems a little bit chaotic. But like I said, I do worry. You know, I am worried about the Arsenal game. I'm worried about matches where there are teams that will play the low block and we just can't seem to break them down. And I've said on here as well, the thing that's frustrating, as much as I love the way that we play now and it's more attacking, it's much more fun. And those of you that know that I take Jack with me, and he hated the Conte games. He just, you know, was so bored by them. Is, you know, we've got to kind of keep going. Yes, we've got to stick behind it. But at the end of the day, it's just, we are getting found out, and there, you know, we had hidings last year that we just couldn't seem to do anything about. And Ange didn't have a plan B. And he just kind of kept going, we're doing the same thing. And when you're watching that, that's the bit that's frustrating. You know, there has to be something that has to change or be tweaked. And that's the thing that's frustrating when you're watching and think, well, I would try this and I would try that. So, you know, I want to kind of stay positive. I want to sort of see us, but there are games where you just do sort of hope for the best. And that's maybe not the right approach in a second season.
Remy, let's come to you. When we lost Harry Kane, and of course the rebuild started under Ange Postecoglou, I think that, and I've said this before, I feel like a lot of people forget what a huge job Postecoglou walked into. And I felt like last summer, a lot of Spurs fans kind of reset and said, yeah, we need to give a manager time. We need to see entertaining football again. We spoke a little bit off air, and you said that it was frustrating under Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, and of course Nuno Espirito Santo as well. When I look at the stats from that Chelsea game, where we went into last season, the first 10 unbeaten, sitting top of the Premier League table, some people were getting carried away. I wasn't, but some people were, thinking that, you know, perhaps we could lift the Premier League title in Ange's first season. Then it derailed us, that Chelsea game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Although losing 4-1 at home, the team and Ange Postecoglou got applauded off the pitch. That was an eye opener, and that was a wow moment for me. You know, being applauded off, you know, a 4-1 loss. But since then, and including that game, 31 Premier League games, we have won 13, we've lost 13, and we've drawn 5. That's inconsistent. Is that to be expected? Is that acceptable during this rebuild? How much patience and time does Ange Postecoglou need? Because I'm fully behind him. I'm fully behind the manager. I'm fully behind the process, because although a lot of people don't like that term, patience, I get people are frustrated and angry about that we haven't won a trophy for so long. But the manager, the head coach, Ange Postecoglou, needs time himself.
Yeah, first I would like to say that I identify with what Alex is saying about his breaking point was when we sacked Pochettino. I had that feeling when we sacked Villa-Boas, but then I decided to give Pochettino a chance, and I'm not regretting that, you know. And this is I find this very strange, you know, because for me, to like, I also read something online, you know, the negativity and blah, blah, blah. I'm so sick and tired of it's the same old, and all that stuff. But it's not the same old, because I have written something down here. So for me, like I've been following Spurs for 30 years. Things started to change when Martin Jol came in. You know, then something happened, and then Redknapp got us into the Champions League. This is like a slow build. This thing, you know. I really remember the 90s. We were like a struggling mid-table team. You know, I would like to put that aspect on here when I start talking about this. I would say that last season we were top of the table after 10 games. It was very, very strange, you know. And you can say that we were lucky, but we were also very good. The team gelled really fast. And then the Chelsea game, and then we got all this people were struggling, and and people were out with injuries, and people were away on the different tournaments. And then the people that came in was the level dropped very much, you know. So that we got 5th place after that first season. I was happy with 5th place. I think I said that we were going to be 5th before that season. Now I feel that Solanke got injured after 1 game. You know, that didn't help us. Richarlison hasn't played a football since like before the end of the last season. So we are struggling in the forward area. I would like people to be patient because it's a total rebuild. Everything is new. We have changed the tactics from one way of playing to a completely different one. And Alex was saying we need someone to guide these youngsters on the pitch. Postecoglou is guiding these young players. He wants young players because they can run for 90 minutes plus. And that's what this kind of like the football strategy that Postecoglou has. It's about running and running and running and run more than the opponent every game. So this kind of what we are talking about now, I feel like we could have this podcast after this season. You know, we are I have to say it again. We are 3 games in.
Yeah.
And the mood, if we will beat like Arsenal in the next home game, everything will change again. You know, there's a broader perspective here. We are building slowly. We tried with the successful manager that had won stuff everywhere they went with Mourinho and Conte. It didn't work out. So we went back to the Tottenham way. This is Postecoglou's 2nd season. He has won everywhere that he has been. Come on, man, give him a chance.
Remy, also, these 3 games that we've played so far, the Leicester game, we had so many chances, just could not finish in that final third. The Newcastle game, exactly the same. Ange said at the weekend, you know, we should have had the game dead and buried by half-time. That's true again, same as Leicester. So I don't get a lot of the negativity and the, you know, huge criticism of Ange Postecoglou because he has set that team up to do the job that he wants them to do. It's just that in that final third, we were so wasteful. That's not down to him, is it?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I think that this team will gel. And I'm very excited about these youngsters that we have got in that we didn't send out on loan. Bergwall, I think he could be a world-class player, you know. He's like Martin Ødegård with pace. And Archie Gray looks like very composed, very like strong football mind, very intelligent, very good like overview of everything to be like, how old is he? 19 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Solanke is like, he could be a hit. He's not proven in the Premier League, but he did score 21 goals for a struggling team last season, you know?
Alex, let's come to you. Let's talk a little bit about last season, because you sound really down about our football club, and I just want to take you back to 14 months ago or so. How did you feel then? And then after the first 10 games, surely you had a smile on your face at that point. And if you were inside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, surely you must have felt different to how you felt in previous years. I know I get your frustrations with Mauricio Pochettino. I've said on this channel many, many times, I believe that he had more than enough credit in the bank to keep his job in that November and be backed. And I also have said many times about Jose Mourinho being sacked 6 days before a final. I don't get that. And I wish that Jose Mourinho had that time to manage in that final, because you never know what would have happened. But Alex, take me back to after those 10 games at the start of last season, how were you feeling then?
I was feeling the same way I feel now, because like I said, I've been here before, Chris. Because, like I say, one thing I will say, because you did say one other positive was ourselves. The only one that I really was really impressed with was Ollie Skip. You know what I mean? Because I thought Ollie Skip, I didn't think he was going to keep him. And to be fair, it was the right decision. It was a very good decision to sell him. Yeah, it was the right decision. 25 million on the door, brilliant, great, done. But for me,
Alex,
at the moment,
I feel like I'm struggling a little bit here. Tell me what puts a smile on your face.
Well, enjoying Jamaican, enjoying soca music. That's what I enjoy. I enjoy lots of things. I enjoy,
No, but I mean, if you can't have a smile on your face after Spurs being unbeaten in the first 10 games of the Premier League, come on.
Well, yeah, but at the end of the day, you have to put things in perspective, Chris. So, at the end of the day, it was 10 games, and like I say, like I think no one really knew about Postecoglou the way that we played. You see what I'm saying? It was kind of phenomenon then. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I think at the moment there was games there that I went to Liverpool game. I was there at the Liverpool game. I was not impressed. You know what I mean? I thought we got very, very lucky against
the
Liverpool.
one where we won 2-1 and everyone's partying after the game.
Yeah, I thought we got very, very lucky. I even did a video saying it was an embarrassing win, because I thought Liverpool deserved at least a draw out of that game. I will give you this. I did say I was impressed with the Arsenal game at that time, 2-2. I said that, we should have won that game. But towards the end, when Maddison came off, we saw how we declined, because we haven't got that creator in midfield. But no, I'm sticking by what I say. No, I didn't feel anything, because we've been here before, Chris. We have been here before. And that's the thing. It's like, if I have not been here before, like if I was like a young guy, a young person, I'm not seen this before, I understand. But I've been here before, Chris. This is not my first rodeo. Like I said before.
Yeah, I get
it's not about giving it a smile. It's like, well, as far as I'm concerned, Chris, we didn't win any trophies. Manchester United, in their worst season, won the FA Cup against a team that we got beaten by, that we said we're not good enough by. You see what I'm saying? You see, we got beaten to top 4 by a side that had more games than us last season. So when you put things in perspective, I'm just saying it from that point of view. That's all I'm saying at the moment. So I'm not trying to be horrible saying it. It's just, for me at the moment, I just need to see a little bit more.
I think my point, Alex, and a lot of Spurs fans' points at the moment, where they're trying to see positivity going forward, is that we haven't been here before under Ange Postecoglou. We haven't been here under this manager, who I believe will, perhaps give Spurs success if given the time, the patience, and the tools. Because we have gone around in circles a lot of the time. You think back to 2019, how many managers? I think we've had 7 managers, including Pochettino and now to Postecoglou, in that short amount of time. If you're not happy with what we've got at the moment, what do you want?
I want Tottenham to stick with their man. I want Tottenham to show, and this is where I think it's so funny telling me to be patient. We'll tell the board to be patient. That's the thing. They need to be patient. They need to hold their nerve. They're the ones that need to prove their point about saying, if they really believe in this manager, do what Arsenal did with Arteta. Stick with the manager. Like I say, and I want to say it on Mr. Box Office TV, because I've said this how many times since June last year. Like, Arsenal stuck with Arteta through 8th, and 5th. Ironically, that season when they got 5th, in that August, they lost 3 games. The Arsenal fans were saying, Arteta out, sack him. Yeah, they stuck with him. Yeah.
But I asked
season,
you earlier, are you behind Ange? And you said no. And now you're saying we need to stick with the manager.
No, because I need to see that the board stick with Arteta, stick with Postecoglou through times when this fan base turn, because they will turn on this manager. So what I'm saying is that I need to see, well, okay, if you really believe in this manager, okay, prove it to me then. Show me that you believe in this manager. Then if I see that, I believe it then, because I've seen too many managers through the door from this club at the moment, and I've seen other teams doing better than us, and I just get to a point now where it's like, okay, I'll still go to the matches because I still want to go to the Arsenal game, yeah, because I'm trying to get a ticket for that, right?
Alex, hold on. When I looked at your YouTube earlier, your YouTube channel, you've made videos recently saying that you want the manager gone, and then on here you're saying that the board need to back the manager. So. Do you not believe that in his opening summer last year, do you not believe that he was backed in a heavy way by bringing in the players that he wanted to bring in?
Well, by what Postecoglou said, yes, he has. But what he said, yes. So it's now on him, because for me, those players are not good enough at the moment. When you see what we've got right now in this summer, I don't think, for me, that's not good enough.
Good enough for what?
Good enough to challenge for the league or challenge for a trophy this season. For me, you're challenging maybe for top 4, maybe, because I don't think I think some teams are on and off. That's it. If you're lucky, I think we're not going to be in trouble in terms of relegation. No, we're looking at like a top 10 maybe sort of team. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, you know what I mean, or challenging for 5th or something like that. But for me, I think we're massively short. I'm sorry, if you are believing on 2 youngsters who haven't cut their teeth yet, I don't know where we're going with this. You see what I'm saying? And Ødegård, he's just raw. He's raw. He needed somebody. The problem is at the moment you've got a youngster that needs, who you put him the spotlight on him, and you need somebody established next to, above him. For me, that's what I say at the moment. You're putting someone raw that's learning. You see what I'm saying? I think you needed somebody who's established. You need somebody who's experienced next to someone like a Archie Gray or a Birdval to help them through it. And you needed someone that had arrogance and swag. And that's why I said I wanted Ivan Toney in my team. Yeah, he went for the money and shown what he's all about. But at least I don't need to worry about his confidence, because I think I've got too many nice guys at my club, too many nice guys in that forward line, other than Richarlison, who's arrogance for the wrong reasons. You see what I'm saying? At least Ivan Toney, he can, whenever he misses a chance, I don't need to, he just shrugs his shoulder and then said, well, I don't really care. I'll still score next time. I'll score next minute after that, and that's it. Fans have to go at him and say, well, I'll show you. I'll boot it in the back of the net. And that, for me, is what we're missing. Arrogant players. Only, unfortunately, we haven't got enough of them in our club. And I think that's a difference to go on and win things, and that's it. So for me, that there's so many things wrong. And for me at the moment, like I said, I don't even think we replaced, Lamella, Lamella that we let go of a few years ago. I don't think we replaced him. That's how sad it is. I don't think we replaced him. That's Alex, how sad it is at the moment.
Just on the point about me saying what will put a smile on your face, if Spurs win a trophy and the bus is going down the high road, are you going to be smiling?
Yeah, I'll be happy. Yes, I'll be happy. But again, I need to be proven, Chris, at the moment. And at the moment, I can't see it at the moment. That's what I'm saying. So I'm sorry if that sounds direct to the point, but that's what I am. I'm kind of black and white, and that's it for me.
Becky, do you get Alex's frustration?
Well, I can understand it. Yeah, I think, as story is as old as time. People disagree about players, don't they? People have views of players that other people disagree with. So, he's just talked about Skip and Højbjerg and Lamella. Lamella and Højbjerg were quite divisive characters within Spurs fandom. So I think it's part of football, isn't it? It's like the old days of going down the pub and talking about a player and how you think that player played that day. That's part of it. That's part of what we enjoy. I think, like I said earlier, we want it to work, and I agree in the sense that the manager needs to be back. There is no point having a certain amount of games, right? next manager. Because why invest in all these players? Why invest in a whole new ethos around the club, the backroom staff, the formation, the age of the players, you know, in terms of the contracts that are being issued, the wage structure that's been changed, all of that. What's the point of doing that if you're then just going to sack him? However, as I said before, football is about points and about results. And yes, we would love to keep Ange for 4 or 5 seasons and we finished 8th each time. But I don't think the board are like that. And I think that's where that kind of frustration is coming from, because people think we want it to be working and it's not. And I understand that it's frustrating that, you know, people are saying Ange out and all this sort of nonsense. And we don't want that. I personally want him to see it work and him given time to see it to work. But like I said, back to what I said before, it's frustrating when you sort of see things that he doesn't tweak and he doesn't adapt. But we've had a transfer window where we've seen players go out. We signed players in January last year. I don't think January is one of those times where we don't buy people, and we may still bring more people in. And it's that kind of optimism. But sitting here reading the comments in the chat, is people are saying, how long are we supposed to wait? We've waited 30 years and this sort of thing. And, you know, and then other people go, it's 3 games in, calm down. People are entitled to have their opinion. You know, football is a fast moving world. And, you know, I'm reading comments about people saying it's about individuals and it's not about the teams. And, you know, people have got their views on it. But I think we want Spurs to do well. That's the main direction, is everybody wants it to work. Whether you agree with what the board does or not, whether you agree with what Ange does or not, whether you agree with the players or not. We all want it to work. And I saw a tweet a few weeks back when someone was saying, oh, we deserve it. Spurs deserve it. We don't necessarily deserve it. We don't deserve it any more than anybody else. Newcastle haven't won things for a long time. You know, for an example, off the top of my head, we don't deserve it. We're not entitled to it. But we want that to happen. We remember the days where we were a successful cup side. We remember the days where we played, as Remy said, the Tottenham way, and it was really attacking, and we got results out of it. But we also remember the times when we were near the bottom and we struggled and we nearly got relegated. And I think we've kind of got almost used to where we are. Yes, we play as the highest ticket prices in Europe, and you know, that sort of thing. And maybe that's why we feel that we should. But it's this idea that we're not entitled to it. We have to earn it like everybody else. But that's where the frustration comes, because we keep being told that, you know, it's all going in the right direction. And it's just, like I said, it's that word that keeps coming back. It's frustrating that it isn't quite working out. However, Remy said before, we beat Arsenal, we beat Brentford, we beat United away, which we don't do very often. It's a completely different thing. That's the next 3 league fixtures. So it is that kind of idea that we want it to work, but there's loads of different factors, and I do want Ange to be backed. I do feel he's been backed. I think the players that are coming in, that he is the ones that it's all about the data now, and I quite like that idea that, you know, there's a certain type of player and it's a position as opposed to a player, which is why, you know, the players that maybe are younger that are coming in, they're seeing it as a position as opposed to their particular right. But as I said, it's results. You know, if the results don't work and teams are finding us out and we lose in close games, it's that the board will say that we can't be a team that finishes 10th, 11th, 12th. So that's where that balance is tricky. But I just think, you know, it's positive. You know, they haven't said that they're done signing people yet, you know, in January, and then we get to summer again, it comes around quick. And I still think it's that sort of, you know, it's certainly not, the squad is not done yet. It's not complete. And Ange said that himself. So there are still positions to come, and there will be players that will move on as well. That, you know, we've got players coming back from loan, and I've said all this before, but it's certainly not a complete project yet. But I understand people's frustration when they're saying, you know, how long is a project? Is it, you know, that make the piece of string?
Hannah B writes here, well spoken, Becky. And I tell you what, the fan base is definitely mixed with the opinions. John Morris writes here, deflated already. Marcus writes, I'm excited, plenty to be positive about. And Chuck Bates writes, Ange Postecoglou knows what he is doing. And as a Spurs fan of 55 years plus, I think he is the best manager we've had since Bill Nicholson. Now, I wanted to ask you all of the same question. What are your expectations and what would be a successful season for Tottenham? And mostly, let's talk about it being realistic. realistic expectations. Remy, let's start with you. What are you expecting in Ange Postecoglou's second season?
I said that we will finish third before the season started, and I still stand by that. And I'm also thinking about both the domestic cups and the Europa League. I think we should, like you have said many times, Chris, like last year when we played Fulham and we changed the whole team, I would like to not see that kind of approach this season. I would like us to take both the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup seriously. And who knows, maybe we can lift one of those. And the Europa League, it's all about the draws, who we will face in the playoffs after the group stages. And the whole setup is a new thing, you know, with these 4 home games and 4 away games with the different teams and not playing the same team twice. So there's a lot of new stuff going on. But in the league, Champions League qualification would be a successful season when it comes to the league, at least for me.
Remy, do you get or do you understand all of the negativity at the moment about Ange Postecoglou? Because, you know, even Becky said it there, you know, about a plan B. There has been so much negativity, you know, particularly when we play this high line, when we haven't finished chances in the final third. Ange is getting blamed for absolutely everything, whether it's his fault or not. Is that justified?
No, it isn't. I would like to say that you said earlier, Chris, that the whole stadium applauded when we lost 4-1 to Chelsea when we got 2 sending off, because we didn't back down, because we still played our way. And the thing about this plan B talk is Ange Postecoglou wholeheartedly means that if plan A is executed in the right way with the right players, you don't need a plan B. That's the whole point.
Alex, what is your expectations this year in Ange Postecoglou's second season in charge?
I said 7th, and at the end of the season, he's walking. And I'm going to just be honest with you, because I did it on my channel, Mr. Box Office TV, because I think he's going to get frustrated. I think he's going to get very frustrated. I think he's for me, since the start of the season, I actually thought some of the stuff he actually agree with him, but then he started contradicting himself. And the whole young players thing, I'm sorry, he says things, and I'm like, why are you saying that for? Then he says about, oh, we don't need defenders. Oh, we've got a better, the midfield's okay. I think it was a middle towards March. I heard that he's trying to persuade the hierarchy to try and change their mentality of not trying to do top 4 and trying to think about me being up there. So yeah, I just at the moment, I need to see it, Chris. I think that's the way it is at the moment. I just need them to prove it to me right now that they're going to stick with him. That's the way it is for me, you know. And at the moment, I think the signings that we made, I don't think it helps him. I think we'll be okay because we'll beat the lower teams. I think we've got enough to beat the lower teams. But it's that front line. I think that was the problem against Newcastle and against Leicester City. And also, we've got no composure in that midfield. So that's the problem for me. Leicester City proved it, right? After we lost that goal, look at the composure of the team when we lost it. We just completely lost it because we haven't got any composure in that team. That's why I needed someone who's a leader. Everyone was talking about the number 6 role. I think we just needed somebody who's just got that little bit of composure. And unfortunately, I don't think we've got anyone like that at the moment. So like a Locatelli, a Matt O'Reilly, you know, someone that's, you know, we had the Dembele in the past, you know, a Michael Carrick in the past, you know what I mean? Someone that was just, who would have just like thought, you know, after he lost that goal, just like, okay, let's just calm down. Let's pass it around, just calm it all down. And that's it. When you put Basuma in that role, he's just not that person. Sarr, not ready, you know. And then you're putting all the pressure on Archie Gray and Burval. The only other player that I think has got that sort of mentality of trying to pass it around is Maddison. And for me, he should be more at the pitch. He should be more at the pitch. You know what I mean? I think the only time I thought he looked good is when Kula was in that midfield against Everton. And I think I thought he was actually not that bad. You know what I mean? Because he was getting Maddison up the pitch. You see what I'm saying? When he's number 10, rather than coming back and doing what he's doing at the moment. You see what I'm saying? Doing everything. You know, and I don't think that really works for him. You know what I mean? You know, so it's just so many things that I think we could do better. You see what I'm saying? And trying to adapt to the players we've got. And I think that could help us better to do better in the league. But yeah, at the moment, I don't think we're going to do well in Europe. I think we'll get through the group, but we'll get found out there. And whether we can cope with 2 games a week, I doubt it. When we couldn't cope with 1 game a week, that's my opinion. That's it. That's what I see.
Alex, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go on.
So, am I understanding you correctly? You want you want the board to back Postecoglou, but you are not backing Postecoglou. Is that what you are saying?
No, this is where people don't really understand me. I'm saying at the moment I'm not on board because I don't see. I don't trust the board to back him through if the fan base turn. So when the fan base say Ange out, I think they'll just sack him, right? Because they've done it before. They've done it for so many managers. For me, I think they need to do what Arsenal did with Arteta. Arsenal with Arteta stuck with Arteta through bad times, through when Arsenal fans were saying Arteta out. And since then, look what they're doing right now. No one's saying anything, right? If Tottenham did that right now, or if Ange gets top 4, right? Because that for me will be the ultimate for me, where it's not going to change my mind, because at the moment that for me is just he will stay on regardless, isn't it? Really, because top 4 is what Tottenham want. You know what I mean? That will keep him automatically. I think he will stay on next season, right? Whether he's motivated for next season, I don't know, because he wants trophies. It's quite clear he wants trophies, right?
Alex,
so
who in this squad excites you? Who in this squad do you get really excited about seeing?
No one, because the person I would say at the moment, the person I was getting a little bit excited about was Maddison last year.
So you just said to us that you want a Spurs v Arsenal ticket, and you're going into the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and you're saying that not one player excites you. If Spurs score against Arsenal, are you the kind of guy who's going to celebrate or just stand there?
Yeah, I'll celebrate, but I'm not that guy that just I'm the guy that just like, you know, yeah, it's good. I love going to the stadium, yeah, but I'm not, like I say, I need to, like, some of the players that I've got at the club at the moment, for me, they're not like a Gareth Bell, they're not like a Modric, they're not like a a Defoe, a Robbie Keane, a Berbatov, those sort of players. You had David Ginola. I'm sorry, Chris. It's like those sort of maverick sort of players. Now, if that was like a Grealish in front of me, yeah, that would get me off my feet. Yeah, you know what I mean. But for me, the star players was like a Dembele, a Harry Kane. You know what I mean? Like Dele Alli at his pomp. You see what I'm saying? At the moment, I look at some of the players that we've got at the moment. No one really gets me off my seat. No, because none of that fun. Only Son at the moment, yeah, but he needs help. He needs help at the moment. You see what I'm saying? Because he's done it so long now that he needs somebody to compete with at the moment. You see what I'm saying? So he's gone for so many years now. You need somebody to take on his mantle. You know what I mean? But at the moment, I'm looking at that side at the moment. The only person that looks like he can improve is Poro. And for me, he should be more forward, because who crosses the ball? Who's the great cross of our team at the moment? For me, it's Poro. Other than that we let go of last year, which now I'm starting to regret, is Perisic. Perisic was a great crosser. You know what I mean? And that, ironically, was the guy that he was part of the 10 games that we had last year and was part of that team, wasn't he? So I'm just saying what I'm feeling. That's all I'm saying.
Just very quickly, I want to ask you, if you had to choose a highlight from last season, the first season under Ange, what would it be?
That Chelsea game. That Chelsea game and Arsenal game. That for me, the Arsenal game 2-2, because I thought we actually were not that bad in that game. And the Chelsea game, because I do agree, we did fight. We did fight, and I did clap them after that. I thought we did. I think we clapped after that. I do agree with you there. We did clap, and I'm not gonna lie. I was there, and I thought we fought very well for that, and that's it. But I think since then we have been found out. That's the problem, unfortunately. And I think, you know, if Chris, if I had a Tottenham team that was like back in the 1960s, 1980s, you see what I'm saying? I'll be a much happier Tottenham fan. You know what I mean? Like, if we put things in perspective, people are saying that we were what is it? In 1991, that was our worst time. We still won an FA Cup. That was our worst time. We still won an FA Cup. You see what I'm saying? So what is the excuse right now? You see what I'm saying? You know, so I do know my history, you know, and that's why I know I love my club in that sense, because I do love, I know my history of my football club. So it's not like I don't know my history of my football club. It's just, unfortunately, at the moment, they need to prove it to me right now. And at the moment, unfortunately, that transfer window has not done enough for me. That's all I'm saying. I don't even understand. I've just been honest, really, to be honest with you.
Lastly, I just wanted to get all of your opinion on the Coventry Carabao Cup game. Of course, Remy spoke earlier about the amount of changes that we made against Fulham last season. How do you think that Ange Postecoglou would approach this cup game this time around? And also, if you had your way, what would you do in the January transfer window? Because, of course, Johan Lang and Ange Postecoglou have said that the planning has started already. Becky, let's start with you on those 2 points. The Coventry Carabao Cup game, how do you think Ange will approach this? And the January window, what would you like to see happen?
Well, I hope that he plays a strong side. I really hope. I think we all remember Fulham last year when he made, was it off the top of my head, 10 changes, and it obviously didn't work out. You know, we were stronger in the City FA Cup game, got beat to an unlucky goal that, you know, with the foul of Vicario and all of that stuff. So I really, really hope that he does play a strong side. I think it is a potential banana skin away on a, you know, midweek fixture, particularly after Arsenal. But it's a Championship side. But reading the comments about, you know, you said about United winning the FA Cup last year, obviously they beat Coventry, and Coventry put up a really good fight, so they're not going to be, you know, shying away from it. So yeah, I'm hopeful. I think the away end is going to be absolutely rocking, which I think is going to be brilliant. I will be in there. So yeah, hopeful, always hopeful. But our away record at the moment is not great. You know, if we kind of sat here and analysed the away matches that we've been to, we haven't won for feels like a long time. Maybe Sheffield United, you know, Villa keeps sticking out in our heads, doesn't it? But yeah, it's away. So that's why I'm slightly nervous about the Europa League. So, you know, but in terms of where you think what would be a successful season, I obviously agree with what the other two are saying about FA Cup. We need to go strong and deep in FA Cup. Carabao Cup the same. You know, we're favourites for the Europa League, which I think is kind of tricky considering, you know, we've got Galatasaray away, you know, these sorts of fixtures, Rangers away near Christmas, you know, but it's a time for those people to step up. They were saying they want to win something with Spurs and they want to show their mettle, then that's what they've got to do in those type of fixtures. I think we'll be fine at home games in Europa League. It's the away games. And then, yeah, so in terms of January, I do think, like I said to you on the show before, I think we do need left centre-back cover or left-back cover for Udogie and Van der Ven. I don't see it being necessarily Davis's job. I think we do still need somebody in midfield, and we do need somebody as a striker. But, you know, we haven't talked here about Lancashire and Mikey Moore and those sort of players that I do think when Ange has spoken recently about how he was saying he didn't want to buy someone for the sake of it because he didn't want to block their pathway. I really liked that comment, but then I was confused as to why Ashley Phillips then went out on loan. You know, if you really feel that he has the opportunity to step up, and then Van der Ven is missing on Sunday, it just seems strange that would have been ideal for Ashley Phillips. So sometimes there's a little bit of a mixed message there. But I do think, like I said a minute ago, I do think they are going to continue to purchase and make changes in January, and I don't think it is done. And I do think that there is this sort of idea that the players that they are buying off the next 4 or 5 years. So it sounds like the board are going to back Ange and the players that they're buying off for the future. However, we know from experience, managers aren't given time, and that's the bit that's slightly concerning. You know, if results don't sort of pick up. But I keep going back. There's only 3 games in. We win on Sunday, and it's a whole different approach.
Becky, what's your score prediction for the Arsenal game?
Unfortunately, 2-2. I hope we don't win. I thought it was poor last season. I know we had the better second half, and then the season before it was carnage, wasn't it? Because it was like 3-0 at half time. So yeah, I'd like to think a 2-2, but you know, I'm always hopeful for a sneaky 1-0. But I've said on this show before, I just don't see us keeping clean sheets. So I'm going with a cautious 2-all. I obviously want us to win. People don't take that as me not wanting us to win. Of course I do, but with a sensible hat on, I think possibly 2-all.
Yeah, I think it's 4 clean sheets in our last 31 games. Remy, this Coventry game, a lot of people were very frustrated when we went out of the Carabao Cup last year in August against Fulham. 10 changes that Postecoglou made. What do you expect this time around?
I don't know what I expect because I don't know the priority of the club that they have been talking about, you know, in the back staff and in the boardroom. But I would like them to. I would like us to go out and take every competition that we are in seriously. And the first one now is the Carabao Cup to go to the next round. We have to beat Coventry away, and I think we need to put a good side. Maybe not like the first starting 11 for like a away match in Premier League. I don't know. Maybe give a couple of youngsters a chance. But I would be disappointed if we don't progress to the next round, for sure. And you talked also about the transfer window, like the January one, and maybe also next summer.
Yeah.
I would like. There's one thing I agree with Alex that we need. I always call that role in the team the Makelele role. You know, the defensive midfielder that does things easy, that wins back the ball and distribute it to the closest teammate. You know, like very important role. I don't think we have that. I also would like cover on left back for sure. We need the cover for our Italian friend there. And I also would like another center back with pace, because I think you said it a couple of times on earlier podcasts, Chris, that we are a different team without Van de Ven on the pitch.
Yeah.
Because the way we play, we need someone to run faster than the opponent, to just pick out that ball, you know, and kick it away.
This picture here, Remy, demonstrates exactly that. The through ball for Newcastle's second goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And you asked a tip for the result against Arsenal. I would say that we win 2-1, but it's going to be a hard battle.
Yeah. I agree. It's going to be very hard, but I'm also going to go 2-1. Alex, let's come to you on the Coventry game. I know we were all very, very frustrated, and it was probably my most disappointed moment of last season under Postecoglou, losing to Fulham so early. You know, putting 10 changes out. I think a lot of people were disappointed, thinking that he was going to go strong in every cup competition. We had a number of Celtic fans on. I spoke to a number of Celtic fans, and they said, Chris, what you love about Postecoglou, he will always go strong in every single cup competition. So it was a big eye-opener for me when he made those 10 changes. I don't think he's going to make so many changes, but let's be fair, honest and frank about it. He's got to make some changes because of the squad rotation. You know, he's already come out and said that Mickey van der Ven can't play every single game, so he's got to rotate. What do you expect from this game against Coventry? And also, let's get your opinion on the January window.
I think for me at the moment, I think he has to go. I think he's going to have to go strong, regardless what he you know, and try and. Well, he's got to believe in the squad that he's got in it at the end of the day, isn't he? So there might be changes, but he has to go strong to try and win the game. You know, because if he doesn't do well, it's kind of going against what it's not going to go well for him, isn't it? Really. So I do expect him to go put a strong team out to try and win the game. That's just my opinion for that at the moment. In terms of the transfer window in January, I say at the moment it's a difficult window, isn't it? So for me, I think we definitely need a midfielder, experienced midfielder. I think the strike force now, I think it's going to be. I think that's done now, unfortunately for me. And I think really just another midfielder really for me. Whether we can fit him in, because we obviously now got problems with the squad now because of the European thing. If we do get through, I don't know. But with the Arsenal game, unfortunately, even though Declan Rice is out, I still think unfortunately Arsenal midfield is 100 times better than ours, and I think our defence is better than ours. And the thing that's worrying me about Arsenal at the moment, they don't need to play well to beat you. That's what worries me at the moment, because they beat Aston Villa. I don't think they play very well. So this is what concerns me at the moment. So yeah, I just think I'm predicted 2-0 Arsenal, unfortunately. So yeah, I think if Tottenham have to, if they're going to beat them, we're going to have to take our chances. And like I said before, Newcastle and Leicester proved it for me. You know, I think the only positive I've got on that at the moment is at least Solanke can hold up the ball. That's the only thing I would say at the moment. I think Solanke can hold up the ball. I think he's competent at doing that. But who's he holding up the ball to? That's the thing. You know what I mean? I do think we've got some good connection with Son and Maddison, but I've made my point about Maddison's Son already. So, you know, we're going to have a really good game to really, and we're going to have to take our chances. That's my opinion. If we're going to win this game, or at least get a draw, we can't.
Well, let's hope. Let's hope the Spurs do get the 3 points and beat Arsenal next week. We might see half a smile on Alex's face. You never know.
Get a ticket first, mate. Can't get a ticket yet, mate. You know what I mean?
Anyone with a spare ticket, get in touch with Alex. Becky, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Pleasure talking to you. Where can people find you on social media? What you're up to at the moment, and what's your next game?
Thanks for having me, as always. I haven't done a Friday night one before. So, you see me at the game with Jack. That's the main protocol, or on the high road. But yeah, I'm on X, Becky, at Becky. And yeah, my next game is Arsenal, and then Coventry, and Brentford, and Man United. The games come thick and fast. I said to Chris off air, it's a shame none of the Europa games fall in half term. So unfortunately, we can't go to any of those this year. Because Sporting, as much as that last minute cancelled ghost goal is still ingrained in my head, that was probably one of the best atmospheres I can remember, certainly in a European one in recent times. And I still to this day don't know why that goal wasn't given. But yeah, thanks for having me on. And then, yeah, you know, like I said, I think everyone's got an opinion on Spurs, but the main thing is that we all want it to be a success, and it's just hope and hope over hope that happens this season.
Becky, thank you so much. Look forward to having you on again very soon. Remy, it's been great having you here. Really enjoyed your hearing your views this evening. Thank you so much for coming on. I hope you've enjoyed it. And where can people find you?
People can't find me, Chris. I'm just a fan, and I would like to do this just for show. You know, just a fan, always supporting the team, and you know, been Tottenham fans for 30 years, ups and downs. I remember when we qualified for the Champions League for the first time, like it was yesterday when Peter Crouch scored that goal, you know?
Yeah.
There are these kind of things that make it all worth it. I would like a trophy. Of course, I would like a trophy, but I would like us to perform in the Tottenham way that I have come to know and love. Yes, and thank you for having me, Chris. It was great.
Great having you here, Remy. Look forward to having you on again very soon if you're up for it. And it's not only me that has enjoyed listening to you tonight. You've had a lot of very positive comments in the comments, so thank you so much. Alex, thank you so much for coming back. Thanks for getting back in touch, and you're always welcome on the channel if you'd like to return. Tell everyone about your channel. What can people expect?
No, it's thank you for inviting me, like Chris. Thank you for listening, and that's it, and challenging me as well, because that's why I wanted to come on, to be honest with you, because it's nice to have somebody that wants to challenge me, because that's what I enjoy doing, to be honest with you. Even though that's what I'm here to
I
do.
just want to see that smile back on your face, Alex. That's what I
Listen,
want.
Chris, I'm happy. I'm happy. I know how to be happy,
And I'm
mate. You know what I
struggling.
mean?
I'm struggling. I'm
I
really
know,
struggling.
but I know how to be happy. It's just that I like I say, like Tottenham have got to do a lot more to get me happy, and that's it. You know what I mean? But I know what to do when I need to be happy. Don't worry about that. But yeah, one thing I will say, because I know we need to end the show quickly. I absolutely agree with you. I didn't like Conte. I didn't like Mourinho. You know this, Chris. I didn't like Mourinho. You know I didn't like Conte as well. But unfortunately, like I said, I just need more persuading, and that's it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's Mr. Box
I
Office
think it's
TV.
fair to say you haven't liked any manager since Pochettino.
Yeah, I like Martin Jol. I like Terry Redknapp. I like Glenn Hoddle. So there's a lot of managers I did like, but unfortunately, it's just got too much now. It's gone too much further for me. That's it for me. So yeah, I do see what you're saying though. But yeah, it's Mr. Box Office TV, where I do a few videos on there where I'm going to do some less reactive content. I might explain what I'm trying to say on this program just now on the show right now, but why I don't like Postecoglou right now. And yeah, that's it really. So yeah, I don't mind whatever your opinion is. It is what it is. You know, that's what it's here to do, to debate, and that's it. So yeah, and again, thank you, Chris, and I really appreciate it. And that's all I can say.
Alex, do you want to sign off properly? Because how you normally do on your YouTube channel.
Oh, so you just sign up. So yeah, it's just like I say, I'm the main event, the Professor of Truth and Entertainment, the ratings killer. And if you don't know, get to know. Back to you, Chris. I'm done.
Well, thank you so much, Remy, Becky, Alex. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening. And until the next time, come on, you Spurs. Have a great weekend.